and welcome back to the Gearhead Lounge. So it's fall season, and when fall comes around, that's the time that my family and I all get together to watch movies. We call it our fall movie marathon. And we not only try to find movies that focus around family and fun, but the closer we get to Halloween, we start leaning towards the bizarre, the suspenseful, and the macabre side. We're not huge fans of slasher movies, and we gravitate more towards thrillers and disaster films like Duel or The Birds or 2012, Day After Tomorrow, War of the Worlds, stuff like that. But it seems that one of our favorite movies in particular is a horror classic that is centered around a car. Now, depending on how old you are, you may not have heard of it, but it came out in 1977, currently holds a 30% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and features a custom car as the main antagonist of the film. All the makings of a cult classic. Now, if you're thinking about the movie Christine, that came a little later. Christine came out in 1983. While the Stephen King flick is also a classic that features a demon-possessed classic car, the movie I'm referring to is The Car, a 1977 horror movie directed by award-winning director Elliot Silverstein. The movie stars James Brolin, Thanos' dad, and features Kathleen Lloyd as the main protagonist. It also has a young Ronnie Cox, who you may recognize from hit movies like Beverly Hills Cop, RoboCop, and Total Recall. He returned in 2019 in a spin-off sequel of The Car called The Car: Road to Revenge, although he didn't reprise his original role. And if I understand it correctly, this movie didn't even make it to the theaters. It was straight to DVD. That's how bad that was, and I haven't even seen that one. But getting back to The Car, the real star of the movie is, you guessed it, the car. Basically, the car is apparently owned and driven by some evil entity and shows up in a random desert California town and gets its kicks terrorizing said town by running over people in the worst way. Strangely enough, the sheriff's department combines forces with the town drunk, who just happens to be a demolition expert, and, spoiler alert, sends the car and its driver back to hell. The Car, the movie, didn't do very well at the box office. Unfortunately, it was released about a month before Smokey and the Bandit, and a mere week and a half before a very risky endeavor known as Star Wars, and we all know how those movies fared. So, needless to say, The Car was literally crushed in theaters. But like any other cult classic movie, it thrives on DVD and Blu-ray sales today. The focal point of the movie is, well, the car itself. During development of the movie, it was said that the production company wanted to make a movie akin to the movie Jaws, but on land, with the car taking the place of the shark. To pull this off, they needed the car to look evil and sinister, so they employed the skills of renowned car customizer George Barris. Barris is responsible for some of the cars we grew up with, well, some of us Gen Xers, like the Batmobile for the Batman television series, the Munster Coach from the TV show The Munsters, the Sonny and Cher Mustangs, the Monkey Mobile, and even some of the more contemporary TV shows like Knight Rider and Starsky and Hutch, just to name a few. So there is no question that the king of car customizers knew exactly what he was doing, and boy did he ever. I mean, look at it. He nailed the evil car look. If you were to pick a car for Satan to drive, this would be it, no question. Barris and his team of 12 worked on building 4 separate cars for a period of 10 months to give the car its evil, sinister look. Each car took about 8 weeks to build. 1 with steel bodywork, and the rest were fiberglass. Each of the 4 cars were modified for the film to accommodate various stunts and sequences, such as jumping, crashing, and high-speed driving, with the all-steel car being the hero car for all the close-ups. Now, as a gearhead, many of us, if you don't already know, are wondering, well, what was this car based on? Was it a one-off car? Was it built from scratch? But actually, the base for the car was a 1971 Lincoln Continental Mark III, a large luxury coupe known for its sleek but imposing design. Now, in spite of the imposing foundation, the entire body was remade to give it a wider, bulbous, intimidating appearance, including a 4-inch chop. The wide stance was further helped by chrome Kragers wrapped in fat Mickey Thompson sportsman tires. The front of the car is what's most striking, being completely reworked for an aggressive, almost skull-like profile. Its headlights were recessed, making them appear like angry eyes glaring through the night. The grille was altered to give it a snout-like appearance, and for me, this is my favorite aspect of the car itself. It's something about that grille with those spooky 7-inch diameter headlights that give it a deadpan appearance, letting you know that you will receive absolutely no mercy. The front end was finished off with a huge steel chrome bumper that was designed to resemble fangs, further reinforcing the idea of the car being a predatory living entity. All of the car's windows were smoked on the inside and laminated amber on the outside to make it impossible to see who or what might be driving it, adding to the mystery and terror surrounding its supernatural abilities. The final touch was 20 coats of black pearl lacquer. Now, let's talk about the part I love most about the car from the car, and that's the sound. Let's take a second to appreciate this symphony.
To see what a creep like you looks like. Go, Maggie!
It honestly sounds like a pro stock racer. And I feel that it added to the menacing feel of the overall car. Now, in 1971, Lincoln Mark IIIs came with the 385 series 460 V8 engine that cranked out a stock 365 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of stump-pulling torque. I mean, you needed something to move that 5,000-pound behemoth around. Now, according to a previous owner of one of the surviving cars, the engine was equipped with open headers to help that signature sound. However, the engine alone wasn't menacing enough, so the sound was enhanced in post-production. The overall finished sound was perfect for this maniacal machine. Now, one of the most memorable aspects of the car was the horn. It was definitely something you didn't normally hear from a car those days. The unmistakable sound came from a pair of Hadley Ambassador rectangular bell horns that you'd find on 18-wheelers. Again, the tone of the horns worked well in this perfect combination. Now, of the 4 original cars, 2 still exist today and are considered a rare piece of film history. One of the surviving cars is known to be in a private collection owned by a car enthusiast who specializes in rare and iconic vehicles from film history. Occasionally, this car may be displayed at conventions, horror movie festivals, or other auto-related events, allowing fans to see the iconic vehicle up close. Unfortunately, I don't know who this person is. I wasn't able to find out who it was, but the car is around somewhere in the United States. Now, the hero car was auctioned off in 1983 for the princely sum of $2,000 to a car collector in Europe, and the car disappeared. While the car was not a critical success upon its release in theaters, it has since gained a cult following, particularly for fans of 1970s and 1980s horror films. The car's design, along with the film's mix of supernatural horror and car chase action, helped it to stand out from other genre films of its era. Now, for us gearheads, the car appealed to our senses. The sound of the engine, the chases, the speed, everything you'd want in a car movie. The Car is a movie that every car enthusiast should see at least once. Well, now, we don't care if it's an award-winning film. There are absolutely zero special effects. Many of the themes are cliche, and the dialogue is bad in a lot of places. But invite some good friends over for a watch party on Halloween, and I guarantee you'll all have a blast. The car itself may not have been a direct inspiration for the '58 Fury in the movie Christine, but I'd wager that if we didn't have the car, we wouldn't have Christine. The movie The Car is a bona fide cult classic, and the car itself is a pop culture icon that is instantly recognizable the world over. If you haven't seen this movie, I suggest picking up a copy of The Car as soon as you can for a fun evening of thrills and a few laughs. Thanks for hanging out with me in the Gearhead Lounge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You guys take care.